Uh, if I ask you about your first memory about your entrepreneurship journey, I mean, the moment when you felt that, yes, this is something that what I want to build, what would be that?
Um, I have been working in dentistry for quite some time. So after a couple of years of practice, you come to understand that the profession you are in, it is very reactive in nature. For example, we drill, we fill, we extract, but all these things happen after the disease has happened, right? So I wanted to shift my profession from intervention to prediction, so that that's when the idea of turning a toothbrush into a diagnostic interface was born in my mind. So it happened after quite some time. But if this would have been done a little bit earlier, today we would have been a little bit further in our journey.
Okay. So as you mentioned that you are coming from a clinical dentistry background. So what was the biggest challenge you faced while transitioning into healthcare technology?
Biggest transition challenge I would say was moving from uh, clinical dentistry, which was like a certainty for me, to move to an uncertainty when it comes to becoming an entrepreneur, becoming a startup entrepreneur. What happens is, like in my clinic, the outcomes are controlled by me because I know that I do something, some good outcome is going to happen. But in startups, the default setting is that of ambiguity. You don't know what's going to happen, whether you're on the right path or not. So how I overcame it is by applying how I do my treatment. Like I apply clinical thinking to the product building journey also. So basically, you diagnose what the problem is, you hypothesize how to treat or how to solve a particular problem. You test your hypothesis, and then if things don't go your way, you fall back to the next iteration, and so on and so forth. So basically, how a doctor treats the patient, that's how I applied the same mindset to my product building journey.
Yeah. So when you were starting fresh, so has there been any mentor or advisor or any real life experience that I mean significantly shaped your thinking as a founder? That's what I want to know.
Before I became before I became an entrepreneur, I used to follow a lot of other entrepreneurs. So even before artificial intelligence was a buzzword, I was still working on something similar. But then when ChatGPT came into the mainstream, then I came to know that we'll never be able to reach that far in our journey. So I started then following uh, the CEO of OpenAI, ChatGPT. So once I was researching on his life, I came across a book that he had written called Startup Playbook by Sam Altman. Right. So that book shaped my execution philosophy. Basically, what I learned from there is like you have to build something that users love, and then you have to obsess over what you have built, and you have to have a mindset in which you have to think like you're never going to die as an entrepreneur, basically staying default alive. So yes, Sam Altman is my current uh, uh, mentor, you can say.
Yeah. So from that point of view, I'm coming to the next question that if I talk about young entrepreneurs or students, I mean how they can choose the correct mentor for their upcoming journey.
I would always say, before you choose mentors, always look at what kind of problems you want to be solving for, right? So if there is a big enough problem, and you find that there are other people who are trying to solve that problem in a way that you want to do, or in a way that you'll never be able to do, I think find that person and make him your mentor, and try and find ways to learn from that person. That's what I would say.
Yeah, right. But I mean, when it comes to career or life decisions, how do you, I mean, personally define your mindset or guiding philosophy?
I would say whatever it is that you are building, you have to build with a long term outlook in mind,
Yeah,
right? You have to think, you have to have systems thinking as a default setting inside your head. You have to avoid vanity metrics like appearing on Shark Tank or something. You have to avoid those vanity metrics, and also never ever compromise integrity for the sake of growth. So a few of these philosophies that I always try to abide by. Basically, it's easier for me to say because I come from the clinical background. Well, all these things are always ingrained in me as a clinician. But these things also apply like in life as a whole.
yeah. You had a problem statement, and from that you converted that to an actual health tech product, right? And this is the basic philosophy of every business. We have a problem, and then we go to the solution. So, what are the, if I talk about 3 to 5 key steps you always focus on this transitional journey?
Mm, First and foremost, you have to think in terms of, like I said earlier, the problem. And the problem should not be a small one that anybody can solve, right? And you have to validate the problem before you do anything else. So the first question you should be asking is the pain that you want to solve, is it real? If it's real, then it's worth solving. If it is only perceived as a problem by you and a few others in your WhatsApp group, no, it's not supposed to be solved. There's not every problem is supposed to be solved, right? The second thing is that once you have identified the problem, validated the problem, you have been able to quantify how much money there is to be able to, how much money will be required and how much money you can earn by solving this problem. Then you have to build something that is at the minimum should be testable, which can be measured, right? So a small prototype of sorts, an ugly prototype will also do. If you can make that, that's one good step, one good milestone that you might have achieved. Third would be, once you have validated your statement in the real world, you should always make sure that whoever is using what you have built, they start loving it before you make it into if you before you scale it into bigger levels, or into more geographies, or into more user bases, right? So first is you must validate the problem. Second is, once you have validated the problem, build something that is easily tested. And the third would be, before you make it into a full scale or a very highly scaled up product, you must make sure that you must have a core user base who will swear by what you have built.
Yeah, right. So, sir, according to my experience, if I talk in healthcare, technology adoption is not just about implementation, right? So, how do you build an adoption mindset among users, or should I say, patients?
Um, I am a dentist by virtue of my education and my larger part of professional life. So my adoption mindset would be similar to that of how I can bring value to my profession and to my professional fraternities users, right? So what we do is, we first start with whoever is it that is under our influence, or whoever it is who we are connected to on a daily basis, right? So I'm starting with dentists and not directly going to my consumers first, right? Because what we are building is supposed to be a kind of enhancement to the current workflow that my dentist friends are used to, so that we do not want to disrupt everything at one go, right? So uh, after that, we want to also position ourselves not just as one gadget or something that it is that we are building for the consumer. We want to encompass everything that has to do with what we are building. So basically, we are building a platform for dentists and consumers to come on board. We are using hardware as a hook to bring them on board, right? So it encompasses everybody who's a stakeholder in the ecosystem in oral health and systemic wellness tracking, right? So that adoption mindset in healthcare usually starts with who we are already connected to, and so that we can leverage their skills to bring on board their own users who will become a part of the larger ecosystem anyway, right? Second would be to not disrupt what is already working. You can do incremental enhancements till you find the time in which your dentist friends or your your fraternity or your professional network is becoming your early adopters and swearing by your product, because they will love it absolutely, because you have just made their lives easier. And after that, you must frame what you have built as a larger offering, and not just one or two simple offerings which can be easily replicated by your competitors. So basically, one more insight I would like to add here is that, because I come from healthcare, here adoption is mostly trust based. So there is no amount of hype that you can do in order to rake up any kind of adoption. It's totally trust based, which is why going through your existing network often gives you better results.
Hmm. So for any kind of startup, what I think is there are two main important aspects. I could say that is one is product market fit and another one is pricing. So how did you approach these two aspects at the early stage of your startup, especially in a cost sensitive market like India?
In India, it is very difficult to find the right uh, price sweet spot. Basically, in India, you will, if you're building anything, you will need to have something that we call tiered pricing. There has to be a freemium tier. There has to be a low tripwire pricing. Then it has to be some pro pricing, and then you have to go to pro max pricing. That kind of thing. It has to be tiered. So you must have at least different product bundles or SKUs when you're offering out in an Indian market, right? Uh, Second thing would be to have margin discipline, which means like you must keep higher margins for yourselves, so that even if you have to give discounts to your users, you'll still not be selling it at a loss, right? So that has to be there, right? And also before, especially in healthcare, what happens is there is a lot of costs that gets absorbed in terms of regulations and certifications, especially because you're making a medical device, right? So basically, what you can do is, instead of burning investors' money for all those things, you first go to market with a watered down or a toned down product with lesser claims. For example, the toothbrush, actually what we are building is a medical device, but we are not going to market as a medical device. We are going to market by calling ourselves a wellness tracker, right? So wellness tracker does not need to have many medical claims. For example, it cannot claim to have blood sugar detection, right? If you claim blood sugar detection, then we'll have to have certificates that tell us, or some FDA certification or CDSCO certification that will have to support our claims, right? And that is an expensive, like comes in crores. So to bypass that, you can just water down your claims, go to market, make money, and as and when all this revenue that is coming in, all this data that you are gathering, from there you can make a better product and go for medical claims after undergoing the proper certifications and the proper regulations. So
Mm, mm,
basically, tiered pricing, you need to have different pricings for different classes of consumers. Second would be to have margin discipline. For example, by the time you have sold at least 100 units, you still must be profitable, right? So that mindset you must have. And also third would be not to go to market with the perfect product. Go to market with something that is working nicely. Make your claims a little bit less, and once you have proper revenue and proper data sets, build a better product, and then make your dream product come into the market. So
right.
basically, retention first, then repeat usage you have to ascertain, and then data consistency. Once you have all these three, then that's when you can call your product as achieving market fit. So product market fit needs to undergo certain parameters. If one of them also, if they don't work, sometimes you'll have trouble achieving PMF.
Mm, mm. So, as you mentioned that in any kind of healthcare related startup, we have to balance between growth and clinical safety and sustainability. So, for you, which one comes first and why?
Oh, definitely. Clinical safety always first. There's no other
Yeah.
question of anything else. Always clinical safety first, because without credibility, people sometimes, they chase growth because that's what the investors want. But if you chase growth without credibility, you'll just end up killing your own company.
Mm,
Ultimately, what happens is long-term value in what you are building. It comes from regulatory alignment, number one. Number two is defensible science, which means if you are building something, you must be able to protect it not just from people who might want to steal it from you in terms of your intellectual property. Uh, you should also be able to defend it against any kind of claims or any kind of disputes also. So, which is why the only currency you will have in the initial stages of your building journey would be credibility, right? So, whatever is needed to be able to keep your credibility intact must always come first, which is why clinical safety for me always comes first.
mm. So, whenever a new technology is coming or emerges, like generative AI or advanced analytics, what is your framework to evaluate whether it is genuinely useful or just a hype?
There is a method I use. I mean,
Mm,
I have been working with AI even before AI was a buzzword, even before AI was something that everybody is using these days. So I have a method. I call it the three filter test.
mm,
Number one question that I ask myself is, if this new AI hype is out there and everybody is talking about it, I ask myself, first question is, does it improve signal to noise ratio? Signal means your outcome. Noise is what everything else, right? So if the outcome that you are seeking from from such a technology, if that is more than the noise, then it passes the first filter. Second thing, as a clinician, what I think is it going to reduce friction in clinical workflow? For example, I am talking to a patient, I'm trying to convince the patient to undergo an implant surgery, right? So, does it, uh, if I use AI for communication with the patient, let's say the patient has not yet arrived to my clinic and I'm communicating with the patient through WhatsApp or through email or something, right? So, does it reduce friction because I'm using AI, or does it create more friction because the patient is not converting into a patient because he knows he needs the treatment? I know he needs the treatment, but he's still skeptical regarding whether the implant will be safe for him or not, right? So that if I can answer in the affirmative, that it reduces friction, then this new trend or new technology passes the second filter. The third and the most important is, can it improve prediction accuracy measurably? For example, if I place an implant in a patient and I am checking his radiographs every 6 months, and after I have seen it for 2 or 3 times his radiographs, and I pass it through an AI agent or an AI, let's say an AI tool, okay, can it predictably tell me in how many years this implant is going to not cause any problem, right? So if I can predict and measure with accuracy, then it passes the third filter. That is how I adopt any kind of AI or any kind of technology that is out there in the market.
Yeah. So you have mentioned a lot about Indian market, that how a startup should approach India. But when you went to global market, what was the difference? I mean, how easy it was to launch there, or you still face a lot of challenges?
Um, Indian market is not a mature market when it comes to new technology, right? For example, I'll not talk about other domains. Uh, if we talk about oral care only, in India, only 0.2 to 0.3% of the people are using electric toothbrushes, and less than 50% of the people are using toothbrushes altogether. Okay.
Okay.
Whereas in the US, about 45% of the people are already using electric toothbrushes. That means every second
Right.
person, right? So it's a mature market, which means I will have less trouble selling my electric toothbrush, my invention in the US than in India, right? So that's one way to look at it. So mature markets are easily, you don't need to spend a lot of money just for adoption and discovery, because they are already used to it. In India, you have to do a lot of tam jam before you can
Mm,
make the user adopt what you're building.
mm. Okay. So we are jumping to our next round. That is a quick fire round. We will have two options. You have to choose one. Right. So the first question is prevention first or treatment first?
Prevention.
Okay. Build in-house or partner with hospitals?
Um, I think you should start yourself. But if
Okay.
you're building for a hospital and for their own patients, then I think you can partner with them. But you should always own the intellectual property, and you can allow the partner to help you in the execution. Otherwise, always I prefer to build in-house if you're not working with a hospital.
Yeah. So AI in healthcare, is it a hype or real impact?
It's a real impact, but the adoption is going to be slow.
Right. So bootstrap journey or investor backed growth?
In healthcare, you cannot bootstrap. You need to have investor backing. But
Yeah.
with that investor backing, capital discipline should come from your own side. For example, somebody gives you $1 million, you cannot go and irresponsibly spend in personal expenses or in marketing and other things. You have to diligently build and give proof of what you are building to your investors on a daily basis or maybe a weekly basis. So that is, discipline must come.
Mm. Clinical data or user behavior data?
Uh, Clinical grade user data.
Okay. Accuracy or speed?
Accuracy first, always.
Okay. What will be your first preference, Indian market or global market?
We will build and validate in India, but once we reach a certain scale, we'll use more mature markets like that of the US and European Union. So
Okay.
India for validation, US and EU for scale up.
Yeah. Hardware innovation or software intelligence?
You can build your intellectual property and defensibility using hardware, but to build the entire ecosystem, you'll definitely need software.
Okay. Last question is product validation or branding first?
Start at always first, branding on a later stage. Product
Hmm.
first.
Okay. So this round we are completing here. We are jumping to the final question before ending the podcast, and that is, if I ask you about next 5 to 10 years, where do you see the biggest shift, especially in healthcare and health tech ecosystem?
I think the biggest shift will be in how patients think, right?
Yeah.
I think right now the patient is not the driver of his own journey; he's a passenger, right?
Yeah. How patients should think about preventive care. That's what you mean, right?
Or preventive or any kind of treatment or any kind of healthcare issues they are facing, they don't even know what where to start with, right?
Yeah.
So that biggest shift will come in how they think, basically. Now they're thinking it as something that is cross-sectional, but it's not how it's going to be.
Hmm.
For example, oral health will be reframed as systemic health, right? Systemic health, as in like your people will be looking into your mouth more and more to know what the rest of the body is going through, right? That will happen. One more thing that will happen is devices. They will move from nonsensical stuff like tracking steps. Who cares how many steps you have walked, right?
Hmm.
It will move from that to be able to predict metabolic risk. Like, are you going to have diabetes in 5 years? Are you going to have a heart attack in the next 10 years? Should you are you suffering from some kind of stress that you don't even know you're going through, right? Those kind of things will be tracked by devices more and more. One more thing that will come from the government side is that regulators, they will start to tighten the claims made by such companies who are making these devices, right? One dangerous thing that is going to happen is data ownership. It is going to become political, right?
Hmm.
So maybe 15, 20 years down the line, you'll be giving a vote to somebody who owns your data. That is one thing that is going to happen. Very dystopian, but it's going to happen. So one good thing that will happen is that preventive diagnostics will become normal, right? Like it will become normal. Like how today glucose monitors are, you can see in everybody's house nowadays. Everybody has at least one diabetic in the family, right? Everybody has those pinprick machines, right? So like that, more and more preventive diagnostics at home will become like more and more normalized. People will go less and less to hospitals for any small thing. They will want to be on top of their own health journey, right? So, who will be the winners in all this? Winners will be companies who own the proprietary data from all these devices.
Hmm.
The winners will be companies who will build the regulatory pathways very early because they could see what is going to come, right? And who will win? One more type of company that will win this is the company that will survive long enough to be able to earn trust first, right? So, like I said, credibility, credibility, credibility. That is the only currency that will take you, that will make you survive long term. So that's the what the future is going to look like in preventive health.
Yeah. Okay. So before ending, I just want to ask you a light-hearted question. I mean, you are a dentist. You have a lot of experience. You're dealing with thousands of patients. So tell me about the one peculiar or funny incident or case that you can never forget in your life.
Uh, so I'll tell you something. It's a little bit embarrassing for me to say, but I'll tell you the story. So when I was new at the time. I was about 2 or 3 years experienced. So there was this couple who came to us, and they wanted to get the teeth cleaned, right? And the husband was being a little bit shy, actually. So most of the talking was done by the wife. And when I asked the husband to open his mouth, I could understand why, because he used to eat a lot of this gutka, right? And he
Tobaccos.
had
Yeah.
tobacco stains were like his half of his teeth were not even seen, because in the darkness of his mouth everything looked black, right?
Mm,
That was
mm,
there, and there was this bad smell that was coming. That's why he was being shy in front of me, and and he had some infections also here and there, especially
mm.
where he used to keep tobacco pouch near the lips, right? So anyway, I did his treatment. I cleaned everything up. I gave him medicines. I explained to him different techniques of oral hygiene and all that. And I told that after you have taken all my recommendations, I need you to come back after 1 week for a follow up. I want to see whether you are adhering to my advice or not, right? So that episode happened, and after 1 week, both of them came back again, and this time the wife was like very happy. The husband was also very happy, and, and this time at least he was talking. So I casually asked, like, what changed? Like, you guys look so happy. Uh, the wife very unabashedly she said that we have been married for 5 years, but uh, after we came back from your clinic, it was the first time we ever kissed, and that was like, I'm like, okay, at least I could uh, put some spark in your marriage. I'm so grateful to be having that kind of privilege as a doctor. So yeah, so that was one thing that I will never forget in my life.
Okay, so we are done here. I hope you have enjoyed our episode.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you for
Yeah.
having me.